Hello, how are you doing today? Really, how are you? My name is Kirsty, and this is episode 39, I think, of Is It Expired? It is. We're at episode 39. Sorry, I am a little bit lost this week. I did miss last week. I don't know if anyone really noticed. If you did, thank you. I appreciate it. But the reason I missed last week was Flynn, my 4-month-old Chow Chow, he ruptured a blood vessel in his ear, and we had to go get surgery. He had to get it opened and drained, and it was a whole thing, and he was in a cone for 2 weeks, and he just didn't love it. He had like a head wrap on, and he got his sutures out yesterday, so we're feeling a little bit better. We're feeling a little more back to normal, and so I figured, what the heck, let's do it. Now, moving right along. Here is my disclaimer. As always, please don't use expired makeup. I know what the potential consequences could be. I know what could happen, and I'm taking that risk. I do not recommend others do the same. Now, obviously, I hear a lot of people say, wow, that's very old for that particular product. I'm aware. I know so many products in my collection are incredibly old. I get it. However, the reason I'm doing this is because I have been collecting makeup products for 10, 12, 14 years, something around there, and some things are 10, 12, 14 years old. Yep. And I have a mentality of not wanting to throw things out unless I can see a specific reason. Obviously, if the texture's gone off, the consistency has changed, the scent has changed, yeah, I'm going to declutter it. But if it looks totally normal, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see what happens, and yeah, I can definitely end up with things like a rash or a breakout, or just getting plain sick from things like very old lipsticks. However, that has not happened yet. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, and that is why I say, don't do what Johnny Don't does. Johnny Don't? What is the Simpsons phrase? You know what I'm saying? Don't do what I'm doing. I'm not doing this as a reason for other people to go in and use their expired makeup. I'm just playing. I'm testing some limits, and so far, so good, but not everybody might have that experience as well. So, with that, let's move on to week 38. Let's see what I pulled. I only got a week of use out of these things anyway because I did not get ready for over a week due to having to play recovery nurse to my puppy. So, I did get a few looks in there somewhere, so these things did get some use, but the first week it just wasn't enough. It didn't make sense for me to film and to reevaluate these products, so we missed a week. Alright, let's move back. Okie dokie. So, last couple of weeks, but really last week, here are the products that I had. Alright, first of all, I have my Huda Beauty Glowish Melty Dew Skin Tint in 02 Fairlight. I loved this. However, what I did notice was it has been a little warmer here. I have spent some time outside, and when I tan, I turn very rosy. So this suddenly was pulling like very yellow on me. You're gonna see it in one of the photos. Like my face does not match my body, and it was because suddenly my body was so red toned, and I'm not burnt by any means. It's just I turn very rosy. And so it looked suddenly very contrast, very yellow in against my skin. So what I ended up having to do was actually using a blue color corrector to neutralize some of the yellow undertones, and that worked a lot better. I did notice that. So, I mean, we're here to play. We're here to try things. Not everything is going to be perfect. I am absolutely not anywhere near perfect. Let's be honest. I just like to play. I like to have fun. So don't judge me for the fact that one of these photos, my skin is definitely a different color than the rest of my body, because I wasn't expecting the change in my skin tone that much. But I spent a lot of time outside on like the 2 nice days we had. But I do love this. It's only 6 months old, and man, you can change the tone of any product you have. Use color correctors. I actually just use a lip palette that I have. I'm not saying that's always going to work because the base of the lip products might not mingle with your base of your foundation, and that's totally possible, but it worked for me. I just put a little blue in, did a little swoopity dupe there, and suddenly the color worked again. So don't be afraid to play with things, change the shade, change the tone if you need to, and that's what makeup is. It's fun, it's creative. have a hoot with it. Have a solid good time. Moving on. Next, I have my Shot Miss A AOA Studio Perfect Bronzer Powder. I think I only got this last year. This is in Frappe, which I cannot open for the life of me, but I love these. I have two of them. I have Cold Brew. I actually use Cold Brew today. They blend out beautifully. They are $1.50. I don't remember. They're like $1. And I love them. I am obsessed with these bronzers. I feel like I've gotten so much use on them, and yet you can't see it. So they're very pigmented. I just go very light-handed with a big fluffy brush. Beautiful. Love them. Probably going to break the packaging because it's $1, but whatever. You know, I'll suffer through shoddy packaging for a good product at a good price. And then we're going to move on to this. This is my Pat McGrath Labs Blush Without Caution in Desert Orchid, and this is funny because this is like a $70 blush. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I think they're like $45 or $50 Canadian. They're not cheap by any means. They are an expensive blush. I have nothing against it, but I also feel like there's just as good blushes for a much more reasonable price. But because I have it, I'm going to use it. This I would have got last year. So again, fairly new to my collection, and it did get some love. It needs some cleaning because it did get some love. But it works. It's fine. Whatever. Moving on. Let's go back in time. Let's reverse here. This is my Tarte Glamazon Timeless lipstick. It's very dirty, and the reason it's dirty is because I used it as a blush, a cream blush, all week. And this is probably 8 or 9 years old, and, you know, I get comments saying, wow, like, throw that out, it's very old. Yeah, I get it. Doesn't smell like anything, and I used it for the whole week, no issues. The actual component in itself, I mean, other than the foundation on the top here, looks perfect. It's not disintegrating, it's not falling apart, so I just have a hard time throwing things out when they still seem to be performing fine and there's no visual issues or smell issues. So it's going back in my collection because honestly, I loved this as a cream blush. I was obsessed with using it as a cream blush, and if I can get some more use on it before the day it inevitably does start smelling funny or looking funny, I'm gonna do that. So it's going home. And then, this is my Coastal Scents Coastal Scents, I don't know why that did not want to come out of my mouth, 26 Shadow Blush Palette. This I've only had for I think 3 years. I got it right before the company went under or closed or whatever the case was. I'm not sure why they closed, but whatever. This, if I can get it open. Nope, it's not happening. Okay. This is just a very beautiful neutral palette. I love it. I absolutely love the tones of the blushes. I use them as crease shades all the time. I have nothing against this. I'm not a super neutral girly. Pulling those neutral vibes today. Yeah, okay. But I love this palette, and I really, really enjoyed playing with it for the week. So I am going to put a couple of looks up here. I didn't get absolutely crazy. A couple of these are a lot more basic. But again, it's because I didn't really have a whole lot of time for, like, me, because I was so busy focusing on my puppy. And I'll actually pop a photo of him at the end here too, in his cone and his little wrap. He's the sweetest little guy. He took his pills so well, and I'm so glad we're done. Still have to kind of watch to make sure he's not scratching it too much, but other than that, like, we're done. He's done. But with this, love it. It's going back in my collection. It's not terribly old. I have to think of pulling neutrals more, and it's because I just generally do stuff like this, and so a neutral palette doesn't grab my attention as much, but it's still really beautiful. The pigment's great. They blend out beautifully. I'm just gonna keep using that word. Take a shot. Just kidding. Please don't. But I do really like this. So it's going home, and I'm hoping that I remember it a little more often. Pull it out, especially just to accompany some brighter looks. I can do that. Fine. Moving on. Things are gonna start falling. Alrighty, Roo. Let's move on to week 39. I can't believe 39. I'm gonna say that like every time because I just am not a consistent person. I will get sidetracked, and you know, I'll be gone for 2 years at a time, and that's just how I am. I will get into something. I love diamond paintings. Those are kind of my jam right now. And my big thing is I'll work on something, get it about halfway done, and then forget about it for like a year. I don't know. Is that just me? Does anyone else just like... And it's not like I start a new project either. It just sits on my desk. And at night I'm just like, nah, I don't wanna. But I don't know why. Because it gives me something to focus on. It gives me something to do with my hands if I'm just kind of watching TV. And it's very satisfying when they're complete. But yeah, okay, moving on. Let's move on. Okay. Which is crazy, actually. Tangents here. It's really hard for me to finish things. It's really hard for me to stay dedicated to things. And that is why I don't do specific project pan style, because I would get bored of using one product over and over and over and over until it's done and not being able to play with other stuff that I have in my collection. But I have completed 17 makeup specific items this year. We are just closing out halfway through the year. 17 items. I am so proud of me. So I'm hoping that I can hit 30 come 2024. And that's everything from like lip balms, foundations, powders. Obviously not a whole heck of a lot of eyeshadows being completed because it is next to impossible. But there are other things being taken away from my collection. And that is huge to me. I have not purchased any beauty items in the last 2 months, which is also a huge feat for me because I have no self-control. So I'm so proud of myself. Good for me. A little pat on the back there. But let's move on. Back to what I was doing. 39. This is the Lottie London Mega Brow Glaze. This is 6 months old, maybe. And I just opened it. Like, I just took off the packaging to start using it. Because I had just finished up a different tinted brow gel, maybe about a month ago, and I just haven't opened one in the meantime, which is fine. So this one, I don't know, use it today. I don't feel like it's overly starchy, is the word I wanted to go for right away. I mean, yeah, my brows are all still, like, up and at attention where they're supposed to be, but I think I need some more, practice with this. I need to try it a few more times before I can really determine how I feel about it. So I'm gonna keep playing with that. And then honestly, like, if I like it, it's just gonna end up in my regular rotation anyway. This is my Shany Cosmetics Loose Pigment in the shade 23. These are like 12 years old. They're so old. It's a freaking pigment though. Like, I mean, I could still get an eye infection. No one's saying I couldn't. But most of these are untouched, to be completely honest. I'm just going to dump a little bit out so I can give a little swatch. It's just a very beautiful, shimmery orange shade. Which is funny because I got dressed before even knowing what my products were going to be today. This was not intentional. So it's beautiful. It really is. It's just a very light, shimmering orange. It's great for just a little topper on the lids, which is all I did. I would like to try and use it a little bit more with like a glitter glue and see just how intense I can make it, because I did kind of find that I put it on and then it just kind of like blew away in the wind that I have in the basement. Just kidding. But it didn't seem as intense as I would like it to be. And so I'm going to try it with a glitter glue next time and see like how much pizzazz I can get from that shade, but I do really like the color, so we're gonna keep trying, we're gonna keep playing with it. If I find by the end of the week that there is no way that I can make it like stay on my lids and really make an impact, I'll declutter it, and I'm fine with that, but I want to play with it first. Next, this is my Shop Miss A Paw blush in the shade Stratus. I love these. I have a couple of them. I think they're still available. I've only had those for like maybe a year and a half, and I have actually seen these on other videos, so I'm sure they still carry these. And I'm gonna get more because I am obsessed. It looks so dark. It really does. And when you put it on the cheeks, it looks so dark, but it blends out beautifully. Yep. Just gonna keep saying it. It's stunning. It's a gorgeous color. It gives you just this beautiful rosy, deep tone. And even though I'm very fair, this color works. It's intimidating to look at. It's intimidating when you get it right on your face, because it's so dark. But let me just Like, that's scary, right? Oh my gosh, that's a really deep blush. But when you blend it out, it is just a beautiful, deep berry tone. And it's almost gone, but perfect for fair skin because you still get that beautiful flush of deep berry, raspberry, blackberry color. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm excited to keep using that for the week. I have definitely used these plenty of times over the last year and a half that I've had them, and I'm just going to keep on keeping on with it. Next, this is my Rude Cosmetics Splash Liner. I have this thing for water-activated liners, let me tell you. Beautiful. So it's just a fun, it's got pink, green, purple, and blue. Yeah, my light's happening, so like things doesn't, whatever. It's fine, whatever, be that way. There we go. Good look. Okay. But they're pastel, beautiful, but they're pigmented. So you can do what you want with them. You can draw with them, cut crease, regular liner, whatever. Have fun. I did just go in with the pink today to do my cut crease, and I love these. I really do. I have a ton of the Suva Beauty ones too, and I use those a lot too. I don't know what I like better. I don't have Suva ones necessarily in these colors. Those ones are a little bit more like metallics and brights and stuff like that. UV colors. Those are really interesting. But as for quality, I find them actually quite similar. I have no issues with either. There's not a lot of bleeding that happens so that you're fighting with the lines. And you just kind of have to, the water to product ratio has to be kind of spot on just to make it a little bit easier. But I've really figured that out. And I think that helps so much, because if you have too much water, then it just kind of gets everywhere. If you don't have enough, you're not getting enough pigment, blah, 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 blah. But because I've played with my water activated liner so much, I've really kind of tailored the ratio that I need, and I love these. So excited to keep playing with this. I'm going to try to use all of the colors throughout the week. Since I did start with the pink, I obviously have kind of blended them a little bit, and they're really easy to clean too. If you kind of just spray them with water and take a Kleenex and just give it like a wipe, as long as you go in the direction that they're facing, it will just clean it right up too. So great to use, super fun. If you like playing with things like that, I love these. And like this, the Rude Cosmetics ones are a really great starting option for water activated liners because they're very low cost. Suva Beauty is no longer in business, so I'm sorry, that's not an option, but I do think Rude still has a lot of them, and they're a great price. This is my Lottie London Cheeky Glow Liquid Highlight in Champagne Drip. We had a fight today. This is only maybe 6 months old. I can't believe it's June already. So I did get this in PR at the end of last year. And I love them. They're like the glow ones that everybody has now. Charlotte Tilbury, Tarte, I think like Revolution, like everybody's done it. Everybody's been there. Elf. I don't even know. I think everybody has these now. However, at the beginning when I was like pressing it, I'm trying to be super gentle and like get the product out, and nothing's coming. And so I gave it like a little more love, and suddenly it just like exploded and so much came out. And I don't want to open this because there's actually like a ton of product just sitting in the lid now that I'm going to have to try and use this week. And what I ended up doing, because it was literally like on my face, and this whole like glob came out. And I ended up just having to take my sponge and like putting it all over my face and blending it out. So I'm literally like coated in highlight today. And you can kind of see it. Yeah, I'm glowy all over. It's this. The only nice thing about that little mistake was that this actually did blend out beautifully everywhere. So it didn't pull up any other product. It didn't get flaky or weird. And so I did get really lucky, because I think if I would have totally wrecked my makeup at that time, I would have been so bummed, because yeah, I would have just been able to take off my face and start that over, but like what a pain that would have been. So I was really, really thankful that this still blended into the skin beautifully when you use way too much. So that was fun. And I'm looking forward to using that for the rest of the week. Most of the stuff isn't terribly old. I think this is, what are you? Probably about 5 years old. Yeah, I would say probably about 5. And then, of course, my Shiny pigments are so old. But nothing else is really that old. I'm not really going to have any issues, I don't think. I've had this makeup on for about an hour and a half now, and it's not like I have anything weird going on with my eyes from that pigment. And yeah, I'm just gonna be wearing this. I'm gonna go outside and enjoy the sun. Full face. Full glam. It's okay. That's who I am as a person, and that's fine. Anyway, that's it for me. There was a lot of catch-up happening today, I guess. But that's it. That's all. That's everything. Have yourselves a wonderful day, evening, weekend, long weekend. Whether you be in Canada, happy Canada Day. If you're in the US, happy 4th of July. That's really the only ones I know off the top of my head are happening in the next few days. I am so sorry if there's other stuff going on that I should know. Just let me know. Let me know if I missed something really important. But have a great weekend, and I will see you all next time.